Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to database management class. This is week number 2, and this is the lecture recording for the week number 2. Um, and today's date is March 21, and I'm sharing with you my entire screen so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. And I'm sharing with you the Blackboard for week number 2. It is currently not rendered open, but it will be as soon as I finish this video. In this week number 2, on the left hand side, as usual, your the week number date is here, as well as the due date. So everything that I assigned today will be due in 2 weeks. The objective for this week is to continue setting up your environment in your VirtualBox, but also to understand some basic elements that make up the database management system as well. So in the instructional material, I'm providing you with the lesson plan, which I'll talk about in a minute, as well as this lecture video and a whole bunch of documentations on how to do your assignments, including how to install the OS, the server in the VirtualBox, and FAQ on the installations, as well as the reference to the textbook and the PowerPoints. Let me highlight the assignments first. So there are 3 assignments. So this is the major assignment for this week, or major portion, I should say, and that is to install the server OS in your VirtualBox. Now that we have installed, let me just kind of open it up here for you. So I have several other ones that are installed here, virtual machines on the VirtualBox. But now that you have installed the skeletal base of the VirtualBox, you will be installing a Windows Server 2008. I will show you, do a little quick demo. Well, let me just kind of go over the whole thing and then kind of do a little demo. And then here is the week number 2 iBook. Portions of chapter 1 and 2 will be assigned. And so this is the iBook chapter 1 and 2. I will come back and talk about it a little bit more. Okay. And then the third item that you need to do is to make a post in discussion board. And I'd like you to research online and give a summary of a list of common database management systems or softwares and database management models. I gave you a link here that you can use. This gives a pretty good summary of major ones, so you can kind of summarize this page if you like, or feel free to just search on your own and come up with some popular system names such as Oracle, SQL Server, and what their database structure model is like, whether they are relational or not, and so on and so forth. Don't make it too long, but just give a little bit of list and be able to share. You will need to, so like if you click on this here, it will ask you to create a thread first. So, create a thread first and then make a post. And then when you're done, look at what other people have posted and then give at least one response to any one of the student that you find helpful or useful. Okay, so those are the 3 quick overview of what you need to do for this week. When you download this lesson plan, you will see I've already downloaded, so I'll just kind of put them on the side here for you, and let me make it a little bit bigger. And let me go over them. So I've already covered what we're going to be doing here. I already mentioned to you about the 3 assignments. Maybe one quick, so let me kind of go through them and then a little bit more in detail as to what you need to be doing. Okay, so here's the, let me kind of minimize that and to make it kind of clean. So installing the VirtualBox. So you already did that before. So as I was saying, in order to do this, refer to how to install the instructions. So maybe I do need to go back. So here's the how to install, and I think I've already downloaded here. So this will come up, and I give you a really detailed instruction on how to do that. So first thing that you need to do is to download the particular OS. I gave you a link for that. And then you will need to, this will download will take some time. It's a pretty large file. And then it is only a trial edition, gives you only 3 months, 180 days. But that should be plenty for us to leverage. You will need to create a shared folder on your host computer, like over here. So I'm using a iMac here, but I have a couple of shared folders here, but this is the folder that I'm using for the Windows Server VM, and this is another one. But so whatever you put it in here, you will be able to access it in your VirtualBox, okay, or virtual machine on the VirtualBox. And that's how you're going to be communicating or passing back and forth the other materials. So I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so you need to create that, and then set up a new instance in your VirtualBox. Like here, you can just click on a new, and then there are some parameters that I like you to use. Set the memory size at least 2. So like if you look at here, look at the settings for the systems, I gave 4 gigs here. But whatever you do not put your this arrow in the middle where it changes. If you put it right in the middle, it's going to give you a problem, or on the red zone. Okay, so I don't know how much of a memory you have. Let's see how much I have here about this Mac. I think I have 16 gigs. So I gave 4, which is decent. But make sure you give decent amount. 2 is barely enough, but it's going to be sluggish, and sometimes it may crash on you because it takes too long. Not because it is wrong, but because it's sometimes your virtual machine or your host computer may take too long to process. So make sure you kind of do the preferred settings. Processors, you probably want to give more than one. I have 8 CPUs, so I gave it a 3. If you give 1, it's going to be very slow. So give it at least 2, if not 3, but don't give 4, only because that's where the divider is, right? So the same idea applies. For your display, your storage, and then your share folders, I've already set it up, so it should be all good. Okay, but anyway, so after you set it, as a part of setup, make sure that, and then you go through the installation OS. Make sure you follow this carefully, and I think I gave you like screenshots for everything, right? So and then when you get to the end, just take a screenshot of it and then submit it. Now, if you are using, so general instructions should be the same for both Windows and Mac OS. But if you are having run into any issues, refer to this FAQs here, and then one more here FAQ. And then there is the resource tab that you can look at down here. I give you, Mac users and a few other. This is another virtualization error. Sometimes for those of you who may have an older edition of the PC, or that virtualization is not automatically set for you, and then if you run into that issue, this should help out. Okay, so refer to this if you ever need any troubling questions. Here's a whole bunch of them that you may be able to leverage. But let me do a quick demo of how it looks like. And so I'm going to select this and just start. And because I saved the settings, it may take a different amount of time, but whatever. Okay, so maybe once you let me see if I can close this guy here. I'm going to do a power off machine here. And if I go back to the VirtualBox, and I'm just going to start so they can see how it actually starts. All right. I'm going to start normally. You can get rid of these two here. Click Add. Now, for those of you who may have never used a VirtualBox or VMware or any of the VM, you cannot do Control Delete as it says here, because if you do that, it's going to affect your host computer. So you need to look at the instruction on how to do that. But for the Mac users, you can go to the top here. You can click on the input and the keyboard. Here's the insert Control Delete, right? So you can do that, and then choose one of these. After you set it up, I'm just going to give my password here and click return, and it should take you into the desktop. Once you get here, there's going to be two settings. You can just close this guy out, and then you should not see this first time, but you can close this guy as well. It doesn't really matter what this guy's, but if you turn it off, it's going to ask you why'd you turn it off and stuff like that. But anyway, so you should be landing here. You may not see all of these, but you should be seeing some of these as we move on. But this is how you land in the successful server OS. And when you want to turn it off, you can just exit, and you can power the machine. Or if you want to save the state, you can do that as well. So I'm just going to click OK. All right. So all right, I think the way you do the, let's see if I think maybe in the FAQ, but whatever. The way you do the start when the server was is press the control on the command or control on the right side of the spacebar. But take a look at it, because it's a bit different for different users. Okay. Anyway, I'm just going to minimize that. Now, let me talk a little bit about the discussion board. So there's not much to talk about this other than, so if you click on this guy, I think I already have it on there. So I'd like you to know that there are more than, as you probably do, the SQL Server by Microsoft that people are using, right? And sometimes they categorize the systems or management systems according to their vendors, or sometimes they categorize them according to the models. This particular website categorizes by the models. So there's hierarchical databases, there are network databases, but this one here is the one that SQL Server is using. It's called the relational databases, right? But anyway, so there are a whole bunch of them out here. So if you go to the relational databases, it talks a little bit about that. And then it also gives you, this is kind of useful. Relational databases are the most popular and widely used in databases. Some of these popular DDM BMS are Oracle, SQL Server, and so on and so forth. So, if you know these names, you can kind of relate to what models that they're using, right? So it's useful for you to be aware of. You can leverage this website, or you can do a different search. Okay. And then the third assignment that I'd like you to do is to sort of rehash this here, but do the Zybook assignment. So last week you all assigned onto the Zybook. So when you do this, let me kind of come back here. So this is the Zybook, but you don't want to come here directly from the Zybook.com or something. What you want to do, is to come here and then, click on this week 2 when this becomes available, and then click on this here. When you click on this here, it'll take you and land you into the Zybook automatically, assuming that you have signed up and stuff, right? And then it takes you to the beginning of what is assigned. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because only when you come from the Zybook, the Blackboard link into the Zybook, your Zybook and the Blackboard are synced so that your scores will communicate, right? So if you want to get grade for that, that's how you want to do it. You may not want to do it this way if you want to just kind of browse and see what's available, or get a practice on it, or whatever. Then that's fine too. It's just that I want you to know that when you do stuff directly coming into these iBooks.com, then it will not be syncing. The reason why I come directly here now is because I wanted to show you everything. Because if you come from Blackboard, you won't be able to navigate like the way I am. But anyway, I'm assigning just a couple sections just for you to be aware of. Like here, section 1. Well, let me just kind of, so this one talks about the database basics, different types, as well as database systems here. And then because the SQL Server is a relational database, I'd like you to know what the relational database is, or is about. It basically it is a model that uses tables, and the tables are related to one another using particular constraints, which we'll talk about more. But there's I'm assigning only the if you look at this here, there are participation activities. There may be some challenging activities, but right now here's a challenging activities. But I'm not assigning any challenging activities. I just want you to be aware of some of these, and later on maybe I'll assign some of those. But you can try some of those if you like, but that's on later. Okay. So that's pretty much all I wanted to share with you this week. It should be pretty straightforward. Okay, well, here's the tip that I was kind of mentioning. It's also in the FAQ as well, but if you need to do it the keyboard way, press the right Control and Delete on your keyboard, because there are Control key on the left and the right side of the space bar, but this is the right one. Okay, so anyway, I hope that works out. Let's see. Next week we're going to continue the setup of the environment. Now that we have installed the VirtualBox, or the server OS, now we're going to actually install the SQL server. Okay, the server kind of may throw some people off, like, I thought we installed the server already. Well, it's not an operating system server, it is a SQL server. Okay, but anyway, that's what's coming down the next week. So let me just kind of recap by going over the things that we went over. So here's the week number 2, the objectives, the instructional material. I will post the lecture video right after I finish. And then here are some documentations, and here are 3 assignments that I'm assigning. Be sure to check out the resources tab if you ever run into any problems that you want to take a look at. I also shared with you the documents that I have used, and I also showed you the VirtualBox, how it may look like. All right, so that's pretty much it for this week. It ends the lecture video session. Have a good week, and weathers are getting nice, so hopefully it'll be a better week for everyone. Looking forward to receiving your work, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Take care. Bye-bye.